Wow. Did you see what's happening with IndusInd Bank? The stock took a pretty big hit.
Yeah, I did. It seems like the RBI's decision to grant the CEO only a 1 year extension instead of the requested 3 years really shook things up.
Right. I mean, the shares tumbled like 5%, right? That's a significant drop. What's the deal with the RBI's decision?
Well, the bank wanted a 3 year term for Sumant Katpalia, but the RBI only approved 1 year starting March 24th, 2025. This isn't the first time either. His last reappointment was also shorter than requested.
That's a little unusual, isn't it? I mean, you'd think they'd want some stability at the top. Is that why the stock is doing so poorly?
I think so. The uncertainty around the CEO's term is definitely adding to the pressure. The stock's already down nearly 40% this financial year.
40%. Ouch. So, what are the analysts saying? Are they downgrading the stock?
Yeah, some brokerages have downgraded it and cut their target prices. It's a mix of weighing the valuation calls with the RBI's shorter extension for the CEO.
Makes sense. I mean, short term uncertainty can really spook investors. This drop has put the stock at its lowest level since July 2022, right?
That's right. It even hit a fresh 52-week low. Now, let's move on to some of the bank's fundamentals for a clearer view.
So give me the quick rundown. What are the key numbers we should be looking at?
Well, IndusInd Bank has a PE ratio of about 10 and a market cap of around 71,000 crore. The promoter holding is at 16.29%.
Okay, and what about their growth and efficiency?
They had a decent year-over-year quarterly sales growth of 10.62%. Their ROCE is 14.34% and ROE is 15.28%.
Those numbers sound pretty solid, actually. I mean, good return on capital employed and equity. So, why is the market reacting so negatively?
It's that uncertainty we talked about. Plus, the stock has been underperforming for a while now. It's down 16% in the past month, 37% in the past 6 months, and 42% in the past year.
Wow, those are some pretty bad numbers. It sounds like investors are losing confidence. So, what does this mean for the future of IndusInd Bank?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? A lot depends on what happens with the CEO situation, if you know what I mean. I mean, will the RBI extend the term further, or will there be a change at the top?
Right, and that uncertainty is what's driving the stock down. It's like trying to navigate a ship without a clear heading.
Exactly. It's hard for investors to feel confident when there's so much up in the air. Disclaimer, we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions.
So, what should investors do? Is it time to buy the dip or should they stay away?
That's a tough call. On one hand, the fundamentals seem okay. On the other hand, the market clearly isn't happy with the current situation.
It's a classic case of balancing risk and reward, right? High potential, but also high uncertainty.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another important aspect to consider is how this situation might affect the bank's strategy and operations.
Good point. A CEO with a short term mandate might be less likely to make bold moves or long term investments.
Right. They might focus more on short term gains to impress the market,
which could be detrimental in the long run, right? It's like focusing on the next quarter's earnings instead of building a sustainable business.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about the broader implications for the banking sector. I mean, does this signal a change in the RBI's approach to CEO tenures?
That's an interesting question. Are they becoming more cautious about giving long extensions?
It's possible. Maybe they want to have more flexibility and control over the leadership of these banks.
That could have a ripple effect across the industry, right? Other banks might start to worry about their CEOs' extensions too.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. This could set a new precedent for how the RBI handles these appointments.
So, if you were an investor in IndusInd Bank, what would you be doing right now?
That's a tough one. If you believe in the long-term fundamentals, this might be a buying opportunity.
But if you're risk averse, it might be better to wait and see how the situation unfolds.
Precisely. It's all about your individual risk tolerance and investment horizon. Also, while we're on the topic of all things investment and market related, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such content.
So, What's the key takeaway here?
The RBI's decision to grant a shorter than expected extension to the IndusInd Bank CEO has created uncertainty and negatively impacted the stock price.
And investors need to carefully weigh the risks and rewards before making any decisions.
Absolutely. Now, let's look ahead. What are some potential scenarios that could play out?
Well, the RBI could eventually grant a longer extension, which would likely boost the stock.
Or they could stick with the 1 year term, which would keep the uncertainty in place.
And of course, is always the possibility of a new CEO being appointed, which could either be a positive or negative catalyst.
It really depends on who that new CEO is and what their vision for the bank is.
It's all about managing expectations and adapting to the changing landscape, right?
Exactly. The market hates surprises, so clear communication is key.
So, to sum it up, IndusInd Bank is facing some headwinds due to the uncertainty surrounding its CEO's tenure.
But the underlying fundamentals of the bank still seem relatively strong.
And investors need to do their homework and consider their own risk tolerance before making any moves.
That's right. And remember, always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
So, what's next for IndusInd Bank? What are the key things we should be watching for in the coming months?
Well, the big one is obviously the CEO situation. Any news or developments there will likely have a significant impact on the stock price.
And what about the bank's financial performance? Are there any specific metrics we should be paying attention to?
Keep an eye on their loan growth, asset quality, and net interest margin. Those will be key indicators of the bank's overall health.
Makes sense. So it's a wait and see situation for now.
Pretty much. But with a little bit of research and patience, investors can make informed decisions about IndusInd Bank.